a cult. I mean, that's the only way you can describe it. And everyone has, I mean, it consists of basically two groups of people, mostly. I mean, that's basically what just happened here with Nikki Haley. And the person who has really lost it the most is Donald Trump. Some people who have basically completely lost it. You know, the people we see in the House of Representatives. And then there are people who are basically afraid to call out.
Trump was literally shaking during Conway's live TV takedown. Not my words, that's what witnesses described as Conway methodically exposed Trump's failed businesses one by one, calling it his reverse MeidasTouch. The same George Conway who almost joined Trump's team is now revealing insider details about Trump's marriage and business disasters. And guess what? Trump's response proves Conway hit a nerve with his brutal assessment. Hey, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We know you want to. Go ahead, we'll wait. Alright, appreciate it. Now back to the video. Remember when George Conway was practically measuring the curtains for his new Justice Department office? It's hard to believe now, but the same guy who rips into Trump on national television was once just a signature away from joining Trump's legal dream team. Talk about a plot twist that nobody saw coming. Back in 2017, Conway wasn't just casually considering a government job, he was deep into the process. The guy had filled out all those tedious government forms, sailed through background checks, and was already interviewing candidates who would work under him in the civil division of the DOJ. He was essentially picking out his work family before he'd even moved in.
Donald Trump, it's just ingrained in him. He wants retribution against his enemies. And by picking two people who are completely loyal to him, all this stuff, it's just these are the two perfect people to run an FBI that's controlled by a president who's a criminal. Spread his disinformation about January 6th and about Spygate even back in 2016. That's what Bongino got on the radar screen for, and COVID, which Bongino got thrown off of YouTube for permanently.
But something weird happened on the way to MAGA land. Conway, this brilliant legal mind, started getting what he described as a queasy feeling about working for Trump. Imagine being all set to join the administration, then suddenly your gut starts sending emergency signals like it just digested a gas station hot dog. That's exactly what happened to Conway. And let's be clear, Conway wasn't some random ambulance chaser with a law degree from a matchbook cover. This guy was the real deal in conservative legal circles. While Trump was busy playing boss on The Apprentice and slapping his name on stakes nobody wanted, Conway was arguing and winning cases before the Supreme Court. His 2010 victory in Morrison versus National Australia Bank wasn't just another line on his resume. It was the kind of legal heavyweight championship that makes other lawyers bow in respect.
This administration is profoundly evil in ways that are difficult for Americans to comprehend. Now, the problem is he's back.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced that even if the American people get their act together on him, and they're starting to realize that. I mean, there was this great article, I hate to say great article. We have reached a stage of illegality, immorality, and depravity in a federal administration that no one could have ever thought of.
The Trump team thought they had hit the jackpot with Conway. I mean, just think about it. They were getting a top-tier conservative legal mind, and he happened to be married to Kellyanne Conway, who was busy becoming the administration's spin doctor extraordinaire. It was supposed to be a package deal made in MAGA heaven. Trump probably thought he was getting a 2-for-1 special, like those questionable Trump steaks that came with a set of Trump knives. But instead of jumping aboard the Trump train, Conway stood on the platform watching it careen off the rails. As months passed, Conway didn't just decline the job offer, he transformed into one of Trump's fiercest critics. While his wife was going on TV defending alternative facts, George was developing alternative career plans that didn't involve working for a guy who treated the Constitution like it was written in disappearing ink.
I think, generally speaking, not in every single case, less government is better than more, because you don't want too powerful a government because you may not like the next government. A disease of liberalism in the 60s and 70s when I came of political age, and now it's a horrible metastasis in the right, where
that would say that, oh, well, let's see, in order to figure out whether this particular gun regulation is constitutional under the Second Amendment, we have to look very specifically at the statutes that were passed in Maryland in 1645.
By 2018, Conway couldn't keep quiet anymore. He unleashed on Twitter, meticulously pointing out every legal and ethical train wreck coming from the administration. It wasn't the ranting of some random Twitter troll. These were precise legal critiques from someone who knew exactly what he was talking about. Trump's team must have been shocked. It's like inviting someone to join your band and then they start writing one-star reviews of all your concerts. What makes Conway's criticism so devastating isn't just that he's smart, it's that he was nearly an insider. He was practically measuring for drapes in his DOJ office when he decided to walk away. Conway knew what was happening behind the scenes, what the administration was planning, and exactly why it was problematic. His critique wasn't coming from some distant outsider. It was coming from someone who almost had a seat at the table.
He's the crazy one, and everybody is getting more crazy than he is. And as Nikki Haley pointed out when she was telling the truth for a couple of weeks in the spring, I mean, say it's 74, 75 degrees, he's saying it's freezing. He's the lies about the election. I mean, he's mentally unstable and he's getting worse. And we can see it every day in the courthouse. We can see it when he's standing out there complaining about the temperature when thermometers in the courtroom.
Trump's biggest blunder? Assuming that marriage meant loyalty. He thought that because Kellyanne was spinning faster than a washing machine on national TV, her husband would naturally fall in line. But Conway proved that principles sometimes matter more than political convenience, even when it creates the world's most awkward dinner table conversations. Pass the salt, dear. And by the way, I tweeted that your boss is constitutionally illiterate again. Not content with just declining a job offer, Conway decided to perform what can only be described as a public autopsy of Trump's business career. For a man who built his entire identity around being a successful businessman, imagine watching someone calmly list every single one of your failures while millions of Americans learn that your golden touch is actually more like a curse. What makes Conway's televised takedown so devastating isn't that he yelled or made wild accusations like most Trump critics. Nope, Conway did something much worse. He calmly presented facts like he was standing in front of a jury. In a world of screaming pundits, Conway's quiet, methodical dismantling of Trump's carefully crafted image was like watching a bomb disposal expert slowly cutting wires. One by one, Conway laid out Trump's business failures like exhibits in a courtroom. The bankrupt casinos that bled money faster than a gambler with a hole in his pocket. Trump University, the educational institution that taught students mainly how to write checks to Donald Trump. Trump Airlines, which crashed and burned without ever reaching cruising altitude. And who could forget Trump Vodka, the drink that even the hardest alcoholics apparently couldn't stomach. Conway didn't need dramatic flourishes or raised voices. He simply pointed out that everything Trump has ever touched seems to fall apart. It's like he has some kind of reverse MeidasTouch. Instead of turning things to gold, Trump transforms perfectly good businesses into steaming piles of bankruptcy. He is a man with no empathy, a man with no conscience. Conway stated during one particularly brutal assessment.
I believe that even if things turn around publicly, I don't think they're going to turn around publicly fast enough to prevent some of the bad things that I think are going to happen. And the administration did in a whole bunch of agencies was fire en masse the probationary employees. And I don't remember exactly how long you're a probationary employee when you're hired, and it has to be individualized. They did not do that because they just fired everybody en masse. They pretend that, oh yes, we made a determination, but that's it's bullshit.
This wasn't just about Trump's business failures anymore. Conway was getting personal, suggesting that Trump ticks every box for narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, essentially diagnosing the former president as a textbook case of exactly what you don't want in a leader. The most delicious part, according to witnesses in the room, Trump couldn't handle watching his carefully constructed facade being torn down brick by brick on national television. They reported that he was twitching like a broken wind-up doll as Conway systematically exposed each failure. Can you picture it? The self-proclaimed strongman literally shaking as his mythology crumbled in real time. For a guy whose entire personality is built around never showing weakness, this must have been absolute torture. What made Conway's takedown so impossible to dismiss was his background. This wasn't some random comedian cracking jokes or a Democratic operative with an axe to grind. This was a highly respected Republican lawyer with serious conservative credentials. It would be like finding out your family doctor thinks you're sick. It hits different coming from someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Conway's prosecutor-like approach to dismantling Trump's reputation was a masterclass in how to destroy someone without raising your voice. As he listed the parade of business disasters, the casinos, the fake university, the airline, the vodka, viewers could almost see the evidence tags being placed on each failure. Trump likes to brag about his stakes in various ventures, but Conway revealed them for what they really were: expensive mistakes that anyone with actual business sense would have avoided. Each fact Conway presented was another nail in the coffin of Trump's carefully constructed image. It's one thing to pretend your businesses are successful when nobody's checking the receipts. It's quite another when someone with legal training starts going through your financial history with a magnifying glass on national television.
Have 600 plus federal judges trying to run the federal government through litigation, when the president is just refusing to do his job, and not only refusing to do his job, basically saying F you to the duties that I have. Where you have a majority of both houses of Congress who absolutely have refused in the past, in prior Congresses, to hold this executive in his prior administration to account. They're refusing to. The correct solution, and this is what made JV laugh, and you guys put it up on the internet, what JV laughing at me, the correct solution that the framers intended was impeachment and removal when a president refuses to do his job.
The most fascinating part was watching Conway's calm demeanor throughout it all. No shouting, no name calling, just the steady presentation of facts that made Trump look like the world's worst businessman. It's the difference between someone screaming, "You're a fraud," and someone quietly showing bank statements proving you're broke. One you can dismiss as an opinion, the other is just awkward. After methodically shredding Trump's business failures, Conway decided to go nuclear and take aim at something even more personal: Trump's marriage. And boy, did that trigger the meltdown of all meltdowns. If you thought our former president couldn't handle criticism about his business skills, turns out attacking his marriage was like poking a narcissistic bear with a flaming stick. Conway didn't just suggest Trump's businesses were failures. He connected the dots between Trump's fake business success and what he described as his equally inauthentic marriage. That comparison hit Trump right in his fragile ego, and the reaction was swift, unhinged, and let's be honest, pretty darn revealing. Trump couldn't resist taking to social media with a meltdown that should be studied by psychology students for generations. Instead of addressing Conway's actual criticisms, Trump immediately went personal, calling Conway a total whack job. But the really bonkers part, Trump somehow convinced himself that Kellyanne Conway must be responsible for her husband's criticism. And what might be the weirdest theory of marital dynamics ever, Trump told Fox and Friends, "I think she must have done some number on him. He's got to be some kind of a nut job. She must have done some bad things to him because that guy is crazy." Seriously? Trump couldn't fathom that Conway might simply disagree with him based on, I don't know, facts and observations. Nope. In Trump's mind, only a wife doing bad things could explain such disloyalty. This bizarre fixation on Kellyanne somehow manipulating her husband shows exactly how Trump's brain works. He can't process legitimate criticism, so he invents elaborate scenarios where someone else must be pulling the strings. It's never his fault. There's always a conspiracy, always someone else to blame. What made this soap opera even juicier was the Conway marriage itself becoming a national spectacle. Picture this: Kellyanne Conway would defend Trump on cable news in the morning, while George would be on another network that same evening tearing Trump to shreds. Talk about awkward family dinners. Their household transformed into the perfect symbol of America's political divide, except both sides were living under the same roof. The Conway marriage became a bizarre microcosm of Trump-era politics. While most American families might have had heated debates across the Thanksgiving table, the Conways were having those arguments in front of the entire nation. You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. But the real chef's kiss in this whole saga, with every unhinged attack on Conway's mental health, Trump was giving a live demonstration of exactly the narcissistic behavior Conway had just diagnosed him with. It was like watching someone scream, "I'm not angry," while flipping tables and punching walls. Conway had methodically explained how Trump displayed textbook narcissistic traits, and Trump's response was essentially to say, "No, you're the narcissist," while frantically tweeting at 3 a.m. Every frenzied attack only reinforced Conway's points, creating a beautiful self-fulfilling prophecy that Trump was too self-absorbed to recognize. The more Conway pushed Trump's buttons, the more Trump proved Conway right. It's like Conway had discovered the perfect formula for exposing Trump. Make a calm, factual criticism, then sit back and watch Trump self-destruct in response. All Conway had to do was light the fuse by questioning Trump's marriage. Then Trump would handle the explosion all by himself. What's particularly fascinating is how deeply personal attacks affect Trump compared to policy criticisms. You can question his border wall or tax cuts all day long, and he'll just call you a loser and move on, but suggest his marriage might be as authentic as a $3 bill. Total nuclear meltdown guaranteed. Even more delicious was watching Conway maintain his lawyer-like composure throughout the whole ordeal. While Trump was having a public conniption fit, Conway kept his cool, letting Trump's own behavior do all the heavy lifting to prove his points about the former president's psychological makeup. But Conway's crusade against Trump didn't stop at TV appearances. He went full nemesis mode by co-founding the Lincoln Project, a political action committee with one clear mission: make sure Trump became a one-term president. Talk about a glow-up from almost employee to arch enemy. What makes the Conway saga so fascinating isn't just the political soap opera with his wife. It's that Trump's kryptonite isn't coming from Democrats or the media he loves to hate. It's coming from insiders who've peeked behind the golden curtain and discovered it's held together with duct tape and lies. Every time Conway exposes another Trump failure, Trump responds exactly how Conway predicted, with unhinged rants that prove Conway's diagnosis was spot on. It's like watching someone walk into the same glass door over and over while insisting they're a genius. Poor Donnie Diapers just can't help himself.